Today on the Big 3 in 30, Michigan State wins at Purdue for the first time in more than a decade.
What a win for our Michigan State Spartans.
Cincinnati sues former quarterback Brendan Sorsby.
This lawsuit or this legalese that we're discussing here, it's really between Brendan Sorsby and Cincinnati's athletic department or council or whatever.
And Miami steals a coach from the NFL.
Looks like Miami, they have their new running backs coach. Seemingly this is going to be the guy.
This is the Big 3 in 30 College, the three biggest stories on campus from our local experts at the Locked On Podcast Network. We bring you the real story, why it matters, what's next, who wins the big game, and more, all in 30 minutes. The Big 3 in 30 College starts now. Thank you for making the Big 3 in 30 your first listen of the day, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com and win $300 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Michigan State won at Purdue last night for a top 10 victory and the first win for the Spartans in Mackey Arena since 2014. After the win, Matt Sheehan has the recap on Locked On Spartans.
What a win for our Michigan State Spartans. Carter Elliott winning 76-74 at the House of Absolute Horrors, Mackey Arena. And Carter, going into this game, I just wanted to see four things. I don't ask for much in life for my basketball team, but four things we wanted to see. We wanted to see a more dialed-in half-court offense. We wanted to see how the big men were going to do against a borderline elite front court that Purdue has. You got 15 points from Carson Cooper, 40 points total inside the paint. We also wanted to see bench production. This was one of my top keys of the game. You got 21 points from Kurtang and Cam Ward combined, 13 from Kurtang, 8 from Cam Ward. And fourth of all, Carter, they have not done that well on the road. Their road wins against Oregon were without Biddle or Shellstad. Their win at Washington was in front of basically a Michigan State home crowd. This is the pressure cooker on the doorstep of March Madness. I wanted to see this team perform well in a very uncomfortable environment. Carter. We 4 for 4. Saw it all. I believe again. Great to see you as always, my man.
It's always great to see you. And there's a lot to talk about with this basketball game. I'm truly excited to talk about it with you. But I have to say this first and foremost, man.
Let's go.
The demons were exercised. We brought the demons to Mackey and we stared them in the eyes, and they got us the last 12 times. And we buckled. I'll be honest with you. We had nothing for it. Nothing for it. My coach had an omelet this morning with Gene Katie.
Yep.
And he said, I got Gene. Can you release me from these demons? And he said, I'll try, Tom. And he went out there and he did it. Like the great person said, who I can't think of right now, if you are not a dog, you are dog food. Now,
preach. Yes.
Now I can take the victory shades off and get this a little bit in line here, because when you look at the box score from this game, Sheehan, like if we did the classic, let me see, if I told you that Purdue shot 50% from three,
yes.
If I told you Purdue had 23 assists to 9 turnovers and Purdue won the rebounding battle, I would have came on here and be like, okay, let's guess how much Purdue won by. Was it by 27?
Right.
Was it by 27 or was it by 14? But you know, Michigan State just battled in this basketball game, man. And it was everybody. It was Fears. It was Carson Cooper. It was young guys stepping up. Kurtang, my brother, have a day. Cam Ward, I haven't seen you in 3 months. Have a day. And these young guys in Mackey Arena, one of the hardest places to play in the country, one of the hardest places to play in the Big Ten that we have not won in 12 years, grew up in front of our eyes. They wanted the challenge. They accepted the challenge. It was a battle. They got down early. It went back and forth. And you know what? They did enough to win this basketball game. And, man, it feels good.
Who on earth gets MVP honors for this one? I guess the easy answer could be Carson Cooper, 15 points. And that's obviously no easy assignment with any two of TKR, Oscar Cluffer. If you want to introduce the third guy, Jacobson, who stands at a blistering 9'1", it appears. That's an easy Northern Light to point to here for our MVP, but man, everywhere else, boy, do they get it done. Jeremy Fears, 12.6 assists is not going to pop out at you, but again, very tough assignment for him. Cohen Carr charges ho-hum 11 points, but it goes back to what we repeat time and time again on this show. When he has a dunk, the scoreboard says 2 points. It feels like at least 6 points at times. That windmill dunk felt like a 10-pointer was thrown at the bench for that one. Or if you even want to go Kurtang, I actually might go Kurtang here.
I'm not. Yeah, I think I might go Kurtang too, because before that windmill dunk from Carr, it was Kurtang. I never thought I would say this. Kurtang made a defensive play. Kurtang got in the pass and kind of made like a little instinctual. He saw Clough had his back turned, maybe it was Clough, made the steal, then got on the floor and then got the Cohen Carr for the windmill. Also, great execution by him in the background of the photo, jumping mid windmill. You can't teach that. Not everyone has that. But he was really special in this basketball game, especially too, given his start, because he had some really kind of egregious, I would say, breakdowns on kind of under the rim out of bounds plays that got a couple easy baskets for Purdue. Yeah. But I mean, he was massive in this game. He hit big threes. He had some takes to the basket as well. I thought that he was really integral in this game. So, I could give it to Coop. Coop was great. The spin dunk, my brother, woo. But Kurtang really stepped up in this basketball game.
Man, I can't believe how well Carson Cooper has played like the last two games. I guess sounds silly because he came out of the season really well, and all we did was just laud him for his development that he's had over the few years. But kind of hit a lull, not a complete bust out there on the court. But tuning up Ohio State, you expect that in a sense, maybe not to the degree that he did it in, but you thought that Michigan State's front court was maybe going to perform well against Ohio State's lack thereof of front court, but. When I said that I just wanted to see how he looked against Purdue's front court, I would have taken 8 points. I would have taken 6 rebounds. Now, that is where he netted out 6 rebounds, but man, 15 points and just doing it all which way, yamming on people, taking people off the dribble. He gave TKR some of his own game quite often. It almost brought tears to my eye. I actually might get emotional on this episode, Carter. Like, this is incredible what we've seen from this kid.
It was truly fun to see. I mean, obviously Carson Cooper's development at Michigan State. I was the leader of the bandwagon where I'm like, I can't watch Coop anymore. Like, I can't. I'm like, we need to get Coop out of here. We need to get a real Big Ten center. And at every turn this past year and a half, have eaten shoes or any other inanimate objects around me, putting my foot in my mouth, because what this kid has become is absolutely special. This kid was a goalie IMG B team basketball player. I thought he should be following in my footsteps at Albion. And now he's a legit dog of a Big Ten center. It's absolutely crazy. He was special. And also, like, credit to Coop, when teams check you one-on-one in the post as a post player, it's technically disrespectful, right? They are saying that they don't think you are a threat to score whatsoever. And he took that personally in this basketball game, whether it was Jacobson leaning on him, spins, dunks it, or he's one-on-one with Clough, and you say, you know what, go score. Little hook shot, little fade to the middle, little jumper. How far he's come from when he first stepped on campus is absolutely incredible. It might be one of the greatest, honestly, developmental pieces that Tom Izzo's ever done. And I know he's done a lot of guys that have improved, like, the Tillmans of the world. A lot of guys have improved, but like Carson Cooper was not on any radars anywhere as a serious Division I basketball player, a high major one at that. And he has become a legit, really good starting center in the Big Ten, which is insane.
I'm just trying to rack my brain here. I guess Kenny Goins, but and everyone knows where he came from. I was about to say, you got to remember where he came from, as if it hasn't been beaten into our skulls roughly 50 times this season. But he was playing with Anquan Bolden's kid, who was probably just doing it for fun at IMG's B team. And now here he is, just putting a 7'4" guy on a poster in the first. God, that was sensational. Look, before we cut it to a break here, and I'm sorry if I'm putting you on the spot here. I'm going to ask your stat of the game. What's your favorite stat of the game? Don't know if you have a box score up, but I do have mine. And you said half of it early on, that Purdue only had, what was it? I believe it was 9 turnovers.
9 turnovers, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Carter, they had 19 points off of those turnovers.
Mm-hmm.
How is that even mathematically possible? You talk about getting the most out of your interceptions. It was pick 6 after pick 6 after pick 6. I mean, Lordy, G Wilkers, dare I say, excuse my language, but that's where I point to. Just 19 points off turnovers. Can you expect that every game? No, but complete team performance and taking your opportunities when it presented itself and cashing in. God, I'm just so happy right now. This is the best.
This is great.
Like this.
I love being in this spot. I love being in this spot. Truthfully.
I love being us. It's great. Oh man. Do you have a favorite stat, or was that too on the spot for you? And I do apologize here. I mean,
no, you're good.
Okay.
I mean, I'm looking at Michigan State's turnovers first. This is a team that, when you look at like Ken Pom statistically, they're honestly awful at taking care of the basketball. Really, truly are, and a lot of careless ones. And those are the ones you got to avoid in Mackey, because then the crowd gets into it. That's what you don't want to do. So I look at the turnovers first, but the points off turnovers definitely swung this one too for Michigan State.
Ever wanted to experience the NBA Finals live and in person? FanDuel is giving you the chance to turn that dream into reality with their NBA sweepstakes. Here's how it works. Use your profit boost on an NBA future, and you'll automatically be entered for a shot to win an NBA Finals trip for two. That's right. Flights, tickets, the whole experience. If you're already looking at the board and thinking about which team can make a deep run, this is the perfect time to lock it in. Not only can your pick cash, but it could also send you to the finals. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. Use your profit boost on an NBA future and get entered for your chance to win a trip to the NBA Finals. Play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA.
Welcome back to the Big 3 and 30 College. Quarterback Brendan Sorsby transferred from Cincinnati to Texas Tech this offseason, and now the Bearcats have sued over an alleged $1 million exit fee in his NIL contract with the school. To go over some drama with the new Red Raiders quarterback, here's Locked On Texas Tech host Casey Cowan.
I think the word enforceable is going to be utilized a few times within this convo as we kind of get down maybe to the crux of the matter. So what was the reaction to seeing this come across, and sort of your feel for it now as you've had a little bit of time to digest it?
Well, I remember some chatter about this, what was it, 6 weeks ago, that there was, I don't know how it was reported. I'd have to, back at the mid-January maybe, it was like, hey, there's an intent to do this or that, and I can't remember if it came out on a Friday, and like by all accounts, it was like, man, that's not accurate, or they're not going to do that, or it was they mutually, they left in good standing, which is kind of what we've talked about. That this is what kind of was indicated to me and by various parties. So I guess there was a change of heart, or who knows. So here's some questions or some things I would ask aloud here that I think are important to note. First off, this has nothing really to do with Texas Tech. I mean, yes, he is set to play quarterback for you, but this lawsuit or this legalese that we're discussing here, it's really between Brendan Sorsby and Cincinnati's athletic department or council or whatever. Okay, so that's clear. And we don't ultimately know what the contract was that he supposedly signed or agreed to. So I saw his representation with their statement, and they didn't really deny that there was an agreement for 2 years or whatever. They just said, hey, you're looking for too much money, or he's made way more money than that for you, whatever. So I'm sure there's a plan there, and whatnot. And you mentioned the word enforceable, because he's not an employee. This is the whole crux. And I will say this too. It's important to note, Texas Tech could be involved in something like this at some point too. I mean, I remember Joey famously saying back in the middle of the season when being asked about Will Hammond, hey, anybody out there? We got Will under a 2-year deal. So sorry, if you're trying to come get him or, whatever. So I don't know what Texas Tech would do in a similar situation. But he's a student athlete. He's not an employee. So again, is this? And I think that if you get into the weeds on the way that words are used, and because we're not lawyers here, but some of the legal folks that have spoken on this say that's the key phrase is student athlete, and students are allowed to transfer wherever they want without penalty. It's worth mentioning that Cincinnati didn't do anything to stop him from transferring. They also replaced him with a quarterback from Georgia Southern. And I'm sure that could be argued. Well, you got somebody, you'd already replaced me, and so you didn't stop. So what signal are you giving off there? They just didn't let him go and then intended to, recoup whatever financial damages that they have perceived that there are. And I know this too, because this isn't the first time we've heard that he was under a 2-year deal and there was going to be a penalty and things like that. Because, like I said, I think this was reported way back, whatever. And I don't know how it played out here, but I can tell you that there was a former SEC player that left one SEC school and went to another. Where he left, did try to seek damages and try to secure funds, and there was some suit and a countersuit and all those things. The SEC school that he transferred to basically said, hey, we understand what's going on here, and so we're going to build this into what agreement you have here so you can take care of where you were. And I think that particular player never, or his representation, they didn't really do anything about it. And now he's at an ACC school. So I don't know what Texas Tech did on Sorsby's behalf, and did they build in some, hey man, if Cincy comes after you, here's this that's earmarked in your agreement to allow you to so obviously Sorsby and his camp, they haven't paid Cincinnati anything, otherwise we wouldn't see the lawsuit. So and it sounds like they're going to fight it. And I think there's people out there, they're on, hey, you got to hold these kids accountable. Or there's people in the camp of, hey, this is unenforceable. You can't stop. So I don't know how this ends up. But again, this is not really a Texas Tech problem. Now, if it provides a major distraction for Brendan Sorsby, then I guess you'd say, okay, this is spilling over into the quarterback that we agreed to that's going to lead our team. But anyway, it's an interesting precedent. I will say that because, see, remember the Duke quarterback, Darian Mensah, that went from Duke to Miami? At first, Duke tried to stop him from transferring, and then they kind of settled whatever, and now he went to Miami, and away we go. I don't know what money changed hands, but Cincinnati never threw up the red flag and said, hey, and I have a feeling – so it makes October the 24th interesting, okay? It makes it more a bit dicey and all that. And I don't think this is coach his coaches and the circle that he had at Cincinnati. I'm guessing while frustrating to lose him, I don't think there was some, hey man, we get it. Kind of, I think that was more, but this may be nothing about the football program there at Cincy. It's more to do with their athletic department or their legal representation. Is like, hey, because I'm guessing the relationship was fine when he left, and now it's damaged. But anyway, so that's for others to determine. But it's certainly newsy, that's for sure. And I'm curious as anybody to see kind of what happens here.
Yeah, I think the impact for the most part is just in regards to cash that wasn't coming our way anyway. So just let it flow around as it will. As it relates to Texas Tech or Texas Tech's quarterback, hopefully just mostly a non-story or non-issue of any kind. But as a college football fan, that's where the story is really interesting to me, Chris. And I'll go ahead and live in both camps in that I'm interested in enforcement while at the same time feeling like you can acknowledge, if the situation says it so, that something is unenforceable. Now, in particular, this case, it's our guy. So get your hands off of him. Leave your attorney mitts off of the boy.
Ever wanted to experience the NBA Finals live and in person? FanDuel is giving you the chance to turn that dream into reality with their NBA sweepstakes. Here's how it works. Use your profit boost on an NBA future, and you'll automatically be entered for a shot to win an NBA Finals trip for two. That's right. Flights, tickets, the whole experience. If you're already looking at the board and thinking about which team can make a deep run, this is the perfect time to lock it in. Not only can your pick cash, but it could also send you to the finals. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. Use your profit boost on an NBA future and get entered for your chance to win a trip to the NBA Finals. Play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA.
Welcome back to the Big 3 and 30 College. The Miami Hurricanes needed a new running backs coach after Matt Merritt left for the NFL, so the U went and took another pro coach to fill the role. The Canes hired Fabian Upshaw from the Broncos to run the backfield, and Alex Dono breaks down the move on Locked On Canes.
Looks like Miami, they have their new running backs coach. Seemingly this is going to be the guy, like when Matt Zenitz of 24/7 Sports starts putting out the Miami is targeting so-and-so, that usually means they're about to make the hire. And it looks like it's going to be Fabian Upshaw, who for the past 3 seasons has worked as a quality control coach with the Denver Broncos, working a lot with their running backs, Michael. And if I read this paragraph from Fabian Upshaw's bio with Denver, he helped oversee the development of undrafted running back Jaleel McLaughlin, who recorded 189 rushing attempts for 906 yards. I think that was in the 2024 season, with 2 touchdowns along with 55 receptions with 4 scores. Among Broncos undrafted running backs in their first 2 seasons, McLaughlin ranked 2nd in receptions. You go on McLaughlin stats, but they give Fabian Upshaw a lot of credit for helping develop him and others in that Broncos running back room. And I love Mario getting a guy with NFL experience here, Mike.
Yeah, we're losing a lot of coaches to the NFL, so Mario was like, you know what? We're going to grab one from the NFL. What I like about the guy, and we don't know that much about him, but what I like about him is he's a stats guy. He's an analyst. So he brings that element to Miami as well. Like, I'm sure he'll be helping Dawson break down film, break down stats, break down what players to target on the other team. And a guy from the NFL, look, you can't stay in the NFL and be successful if you don't have skills. You know what I mean? So I really feel this guy, I don't know much about him, but look, if Mario now has built the trust of Miami where if Mario thinks he's the right guy, then he's the right guy.
Yeah, and Fabian Upshaw, who looks like he's going to be the new running backs coach, he does have a Mario Cristobal connection because he started his college career. He was a college quarterback, actually started his career at Mario Cristobal's FIU Panthers before finishing his career at Georgia Southern. So there is the Mario tie-in there. Here's a little more on Upshaw's coaching resume, courtesy of 24/7 Sports. He got his first on-field role at one of his alma maters, Georgia Southern, in 2021, coaching the tailbacks and helping the Golden Eagles average 192.5 yards per game that year. In 2022, he joined Tulane's staff as an assistant quarterbacks coach. He then spent the next 3 seasons with the Denver Broncos, where he worked with players like R.J. Harvey, J.K. Dobbins, Javonte Williams, and the aforementioned Jaleel McLaughlin. So, he's got that college and NFL experience. We obviously know his ability to recruit is going to be critical, and I'm sure Mario would not have hired or would not be hiring Coach Upshaw if he wasn't confident he can recruit. And then the other part of it is, Michael, Fabian Upshaw comes into Fabian Upshaw, I should say, not Fabian Upshaw comes into a good situation where he's got maybe the deepest running back room in the entire country.
Look, when he came into this running back room, if he is the coach, he's like, this is the best you can get. Like, literally the best running back room in the country. Also, what I'm impressed by, to be able to be the coach of this running back room, he had to bring something to the table nobody else did. You can't walk in there and go, well, I'm not going to really change anything. We're just going to do what we did last year. No. He had to bring a certain element, because me and you could probably walk into that running back room and they would have a great season. So this guy needed to elevate to a certain level, and he said the right things. But also, and I don't know how old he is, but he's probably going to be one of the youngest people on the staff, which plays well with high school players. I'm sure he can relate a lot better than the older coaches on the team. He seems young, he seems hip. I don't know his age, but I wouldn't be surprised if he's like 27, 28, 29. Maybe he's old. Do you have his age, Alex?
He's 32.
32. Okay. Well, still, that's still fairly young. And, I feel like he could be a great face to go into people's homes and still cool and hip, because, players got to like you. And I'm sure he's that guy. So.
Yeah, no doubt. All right. So when we come back, we're going to play for you. If you haven't heard this before, as I like to say, you're in for a treat. If you have heard it, you want to hear it again. And
that's all for the Big 3 and 30 College. If you follow pro basketball or football, the Big 3 and 30 has shows for the biggest news in the NBA and NFL going up every weekday just like this one. Just search the Big 3 and 30 NBA or the Big 3 and 30 NFL wherever you're listening or watching now. Thanks again for tuning in to the Big 3 and 30 College.